5 most common questions we get about our ketamine retreats and ketamine in general. We're going to answer them right now. So let's get it. I'd like to open this up with, she has been very mean to me, and both me and Murphy. And I'm starting this video upset. And she's apparently, I don't know how you can be taller than me. That's ridiculous. How can you be taller than sitting there with me?
I have an erect spine, that's why. Didn't you guys miss having the videos of both him and I and our nonsense on here?
I won't even touch the erect comment. I won't even come near that. That is what she said.
So welcome back, everybody.
That's not why I'm angry or butthurt either. Just stating my facts. God, it's like a sauna in here.
So welcome back to another crazy episode of our YouTube channel, The Art of Looking In. It's been a while, I feel like, since we've had Scott and I both sitting here talking to you guys. So, surprise, here we are in all our whatever-ness is, whatever that means. We come to you today, hopefully bearing some peace of mind or ease around something obviously we've been talking about a lot lately. If you have watched any of our former videos, if you haven't, you can go down through our channel, scroll through, and find some that resonate. We've been talking a lot lately about psychedelics, specifically ketamine, and that's what we're going to focus on this week. Actually, we've had a lot of questions come up. We've had so many great questions come up in the last week or two from people that have heard us talking about our ketamine assisted breathwork retreats and their fears around it, their concerns around it, a lot of familiar and similar questions, a lot of questions that I myself had. And so we really wanted to take this week to answer some of those, because I think if you just hold those fears in your mind, then you're never going to be able to work through them. So we wanted to come on this week and share some of those questions with you and concerns. And obviously we have tried other psychedelics, but ketamine, we're going to focus on ketamine because number one, it's the psychedelic that we have the most experience with ourselves personally, and now hosting and leading retreats using ketamine. So we now have experience and knowledge in leading others in the ketamine journey. So,
all right, well, question number one.
Well, before we go to question number one.
As soon as I open my mouth, right away.
Because you know me, I like to give a good frame of reference. So let me tell you real quick before he dives into question number one, and then I'll hand over the spotlight to him. But I want to clarify something. So ketamine, even though it's called a psychedelic, it's not your average typical psychedelic. It's actually an anesthesia. So they use ketamine right now in the emergency rooms to put people out quickly if they need to do a quick surgery, but they don't want to put them on a breathing machine. In other words, when you're administered ketamine, you will be put out, you'll go to sleep, you won't remember anything, but you won't stop breathing. Your body will continue to breathe on its own, as opposed to if you're going under general anesthesia, you have to be put on a breathing machine. So they wanted something that was developed, I think in the 60s during one of the wars, so that they could quickly operate on people without having to put them all the way under. What they found with ketamine in more recent years is that if administered a smaller dose than what's given in the emergency rooms, that people had these profound experiences that was healing treatment-resistant depression, treatment-resistant anxiety. And so that has been the main focus of ketamine. It's different because it's actually an anesthetic. It's created in a lab as opposed to some other psychedelics. So that's the difference between ketamine and other psychedelics. It's only an hour-long journey. It's not like ayahuasca or psilocybin where you're 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. Sometimes LSD's 12 hours. So it's much shorter, and you don't have the purging. That's why it's different too with other psychedelics. Even psilocybin, a lot of people experience nausea and puking and things. So that's the difference between those things.
Am I allowed to speak now? All right, so question number one is, why would I even do ketamine? What is the purpose? Why would I do psychedelics? So in my experience of being in meditations and doing breath work, it's to reach a higher level of consciousness, right? That's kind of why we meditate is to get out of our heads and into our heart. That has always been the guide. That's what we've always talked about, is kind of getting out of your head and into your heart. What does that mean? Being more present, being more, slowing down the thoughts. The best way to stop that is to interrupt it. So that's what breath work would do, meditation would do, and we would help people with that. Both of us have experienced kind of the going out of body or the mystical experience that happens when you go into a meditation or a breath work, where you reach this higher level of consciousness. We have been able to do it, and we have watched other people, either through our programs or people that we have gone to retreats with alongside, and they would struggle to reach that higher level. So it's kind of like, I want to go to Costa Rica, but I have no idea. Why would I go to Costa Rica? I have no idea what's there. So they don't even know what they're trying to shoot for. So when we went to our first, our only ketamine assisted meditation retreat, it really opened the light on. It put the light on for us. This is a way to help those people that are trying to reach a higher level of consciousness, that are trying to get the pop, go out of body, whatever you want to call that thing, that feeling. That's what we're trying to help people achieve, is that state of peace, that state of bliss, that state of not in your head, but in your heart. And ketamine is a great way to do that. So what does it do? It takes a very cloudy, foggy day, which is, if that's your everyday, and it instantly removes the fog. Sun is out, it's clarity. It shows you clarity that you may be trying to get with your mind. You're trying to reach that clarity with trying to learn something or do something. Ketamine removes all that. It takes you to the place of peace. It takes you to the place of warmth. Ketamine journey is like a very warm hug from a grandmother. You can kind of dictate how the journey kind of goes for you, and it is a magical experience. Every person that we have assisted with their journey has always come back and said, wow, I never even knew that this was available to me, or everybody in the world needs to experience this, because if you experience it, you can't unexperience it. It is fundamentally, it will change you. So that is why.
Okay, so question number 2 that we get it's a very common question that we get and people have a fear around, which is it addictive? Is ketamine addictive? Because maybe the only thing they've heard of ketamine is used as like a party drug or something that people can become addicted to because it's technically a pharmaceutical, and it's not a natural thing, but that people can become addicted to it. So you'll say your answer, and then I'll say mine.
Fantastic. No, it is not an addictive at all. It bumps the record player that the needle is stuck, right? That's what it is. It just bumps the record player. So that would be my answer to that.
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. I think the good news is, for me, before we went to our retreat, I didn't know anything about ketamine. So I didn't have like a what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a preconception?
Yeah, preconception.
Of what it was. So as somebody who actually struggled with addiction most of my life and has now done multiple ketamine journeys, I would say in many ways it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. I don't think ever that somebody being addicted to heroin is the problem. They're addicted to heroin because there's something deeper going on. Gabor Mate talks about this a lot. It's not the addiction. It's the thing that the addiction is trying to cover up. So you're trying to cover up that pain or whatever it is underneath there. So why I think it's the opposite is because what the ketamine journey does is it helps you to see what those deeper things are that you're trying to cover up, but in a really gentle way, not in like shove you in a closet, shut the door, and you're not getting out for 8 hours. It does it in a very gentle way. We also incorporate breath work in our retreats where we take journeys through so that they can use their breath throughout the journey to sort of throttle their journey so it doesn't get so intense, or if they want to make it more intense, depending on that. I would say that I used the example the other day on a call we did. I'll say this about everything. It's the energy in which you do it. The examples we gave is like a gun. A gun could either save someone's life or kill someone's life. It is the energy in which that gun is being used. The gun is just a gun. It's the person that's using it that brings whatever energy to it. So does ketamine have the potential to be addicting for people who have not done any inner work and they're looking to self-medicate and get high? I'm sure, just like anything else could. I mean, shopping can be addicting, but shopping can also be really good. So does it have the potential? I'm sure it does. However, the people that we work with, specifically the retreats that we lead, we are working with people who have already been on a journey of self-healing. So they've already done some inner work. They're interested in connecting deeper spiritually. The process is like a meditation. So what we're doing at our retreats is when we have all of our attendees do the journey, they have blindfolds on, we have music, it's a ceremony, it's sacred. So it's not like everybody's going in and getting high. The other thing I would say, for people who don't really know much about ketamine and heard it's a party drug, I truly have no idea how people would use this as a party drug, because it's an anesthetic, it's a dissociative. So you're not feeling in your body. You ain't getting up and walking around. I mean, not at the doses we do. You're laying down in a meditation, and you couldn't function like that throughout your day. So it's not like something that you would want to take throughout your day. You wouldn't be able to function. So I would, great question for people. But as I said, just like anything else, it depends on how you're using it and the intention behind it. And again, how we utilize it with the people we work. The intention behind it is to grow spiritually, to clear the fog, to find out the truth of who you really are, to experience love, to experience getting out of what they call the default mode network. Basically your ego, so the same thoughts you've been thinking. It's a reset, as he said, to Groundhog Day. It helps you see things more clearly that you literally cannot see in your day-to-day life. So that's my answer. So the next question is, what about those who think it's like a bad thing? What would you say to someone that's like, well, it's a drug, it's not what we're supposed to be using to grow spiritually?
I mean, I totally understand that, but I think there is a time where, our minds have been programmed to resist such, to just be stuck in kind of in the matrix of the mind. Chances are, if you are a person that would be saying that, then you may not be watching us, right? There's people there that they want to explore, they want to know more, they want healing, they want to heal. This, to me, is kind of like the next iteration of technology. I view this medicine not as a medicine, I view it as a technology. I know she does as well. If you want to keep talking on the cordless phone, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, having a phone hanging up in your kitchen. Many of us have had that. But why would you not have a cellular phone when it's right there, and you can drive, you can walk, you can be anywhere, and you can get all the information you need right on that phone? Ketamine kind of is that. It is that technology that helps you reach things that you would never normally be able to reach. So why wouldn't you utilize that? Again, it's a personal preference. And if you are a person that goes flying high and it's like, wow, I don't need anything like that. Listen, you are one of the few that I have personally run into, because people struggle with the fear, with the anxiety, with even mild depression, even because, listen, our world is changing. Our time is changing. And sometimes you either get stuck up against the log or you get rushed down the stream. And you just have to decide if this is for you. Yeah,
I always say, if it doesn't call for you, it doesn't call for you.
No need.
Totally great. What we hope to speak to is somebody that maybe they're curious and they want to grow, but they have fear around it. And that's what we hope to clear up. Is any fear around it. I will never forget what one of the women at our first retreat said when she, I think it was like on the third day of our retreat, she'd been doing some of my breath work and some of the work we do together, just on growth and spiritual growth and all of those things. And she said, Em, I love your work. However, it would have took me a long time of doing it to get what I got in these last 3 days. She's like, no offense. And I knew exactly what she meant. I know that, of course, meditation, breath work, self-observation, yoga, like all of these really amazing technologies that we have to help us grow and to remember who we really are and to become a more aligned, more authentic, better version of ourselves. Of course, those are all tools that will help us, and you can continue to use those tools. And there's now, as he said, technology that can speed up that process a little bit and aid in that process. It's not gonna like change. It's not gonna fix your whole life. You still have to do the work after the journeys.
Yeah.
But it's a technology to make that process easier.
Yeah, and then I guess a real good way to sum that up is if you have a little finish nail that is really easy, to hammer into a piece of wood because it's very small, very thin, there's not a whole lot of resistance, you can get a small hammer and you can just tap it in. But other times when you have a big heavy nail, you're not going to be able to drive that nail into that wood with that little hammer. Sometimes you just need a bigger hammer. We talk about that all the time. Ketamine is a bigger hammer. Ayahuasca would be even a bigger hammer, right? And, so it's just the size of the hammer. And I think this is the next size up from breathwork and meditation. And it is extremely safe. It's used in operating rooms on babies, so it's extremely safe. So
the next question would be, I guess, how to, like, speaking to anyone that has maybe some fear around actually doing it, maybe the way that we can talk around that is what the actual experience is like and how we do it.
Got it. So I'm gonna go grab something. Okay?
Pause.
This is how the ketamine comes. Oopsies.
Yep.
Dropped a little bitsy piece. Anyway, if you can see in there, right? Each one of those individual squares is called a troch. And one of those troches is what we use in a journey. So basically how it works is it's non-intrusive, it's not an IV, it's nothing like that. It's like taking a little chiclet, a piece of gum, and putting in your mouth. When we start our ceremony, everybody gets, real quiet. You have your little place, your little mat, you have your pillow, you have all your little things that you want near you, like, some people take, some crystals and all kinds of different stuff. And you sit up, you put it in your mouth, you have a little cup, and we call that the spit cup. It's very, the proper term. And
it's very scientific.
You put the troch in your mouth, and when you put it in your mouth, you don't swallow it, you don't do anything like that. You can kind of break it up a little bit with your teeth, or you can just hold it and it starts to mix with your saliva. It starts to create saliva in your mouth.
As it dissolves.
And as it dissolves, we're, playing music, where, you have your head, your eye masks on, and you just swish that saliva around in your mouth. It doesn't taste bad, it's nothing like that. You kind of hold that in your mouth, and we do that for about 15 minutes. We set a timer. Slowly, the medication you can start to feel it. You start to feel really kind of calm and relaxed. You can feel your shoulders drop. You can just really start to hear things in the music that brings it closer. The music really becomes energy, and it starts to move through you. It's an amazing experience. It's incredibly warm, like I said, incredibly loving. And you just lay back, and for the next 45 minutes to an hour, you just enjoy the ride. The music will take you all different places.
That's why we call them a journey.
Yeah, and it is, it's the four things. It's the music, it's the breath work, which when we're doing small doses, we incorporate the breath work. Even as you're swishing, breathing in and out of your nose, when you're laying back, you'll be able to, breathe, because it's not, in your mouth anymore. And then when we do higher doses, there's no breathing. The only breathing is to kind of be the brake and the gas pedal for the journey itself. Do you want more of an experience? We teach you to breathe this way. You want less of an experience? We teach you to breathe this way. So you can't do that with ayahuasca. You can't do that with psilocybin. It's dosed to you. We have our physicians that consultate with you, and is that even a word, consultate? It's my word, okay? It's okay. So they'll consultate with you, and you guys will come up with a dosage. And for the first day, what we'll do is a smaller dose, incorporate it with breath work. It's not going to take you on a huge journey, but you're definitely going to feel the effects of it, and you'll get familiar with the medicine. We call it meet the medicine, right? And then
it's to subside your fears.
To subside your fears.
Totally normal
100%.
to have fears. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, again, it's only an hour journey. If things do start to come up, we're there with you. Is why we do these at retreats now. So that you have us as guides. There's 4 of us, obviously, us 2 in our 2 positions there with you. And, that is part of the growth process. But again, you're not in it for 8 hours, and you have 3 more days to experience, working through that, if that's what your journey's like. But mostly, like I said, it is very nurturing, very etheric, very calm, beautiful, just really beautiful. And again, the fears are normal. I had them too our first day with the retreat we first went to when I first experienced it. And by the second day, it was absolute magic. My grandma and grandpa were there with me the whole time. Every person experiences something different, and every person experiences exactly what they need, whatever their higher self, spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, is guiding them towards. It's exactly what they're going to get. It's a unique experience to everybody. So normal to have fears. The fear just stems from the unknown. That is all.
Yep.
It's just the ego not wanting to lose control. And so it is fear of the unknown. It's just like doing anything you've never done for the first time. And as he said, every single time, especially at our first retreat or other people we've walked through journeys at their own home, as soon as they get done doing that, they're like, oh, okay. Like, now I get it.
Now I know why you keep going on about it, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, question number, what are we on? 3?
Yeah.
All right, question number 3. I'm going to put in this question.
Okay.
So, all right, so what does this actually do? What does this do? What is happening in the journey? What does ketamine do to my brain? Okay, so if you're a science person, and maybe you follow any of the scientists now, neurologists like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who talks about how our synapses work in our brain. So when a thought starts, it kind of goes up a railroad track in our brain. We have millions of synapses in our brain. Each synapse is like a switch on a railroad track. So what happens is our thoughts get stuck going the same route all the time. What this does is it kind of switches the switch. So now your synapses are opening in a different way. So it's not the default route, it's a new route. And it shows you a whole new kind of perspective, because it's actually going down a different route through your brain. So what does it do? It actually kind of regenerates pathways in your brain. So you can imagine, like, one route of this train ride goes through the city, and it's been going through that city for 20, 30, 40 years. Now suddenly you're going through the countryside. It's a totally different perspective. And why is that important? Because you are now going to have different perspectives of people in your life, events in your life, why you have done what you've done in your life, and you're going to see the truth in it. It's a truth engine. And who is this perfect for? Anybody that is dealing with loss of a loved one. Oh my God. It will just shatter thoughts and depression around that, because it is how you connect with that energy, that person. Seen huge amount. For me, that has been absolutely huge. For her, it's been absolutely huge. She mentioned her grandfather and her grandmother. You do become one with them. It's just the greatest thing. It is such relief and such beauty in that. So anybody that is in the state of loss, oh my God, fantastic. We talk about people that are stuck in their mind. They're kind of ruled by fear and doubt and stuck in the everyday loop of life, right? It's not to change you, like suddenly you're going to be in an orange robe in an airport walking around, saying Hare Krishna. You're not going to do that at all. It's just going to take that fog again out. So you'll You see clearly now, so you can see your purpose. It really helps you with that. So it just kind of pulls you out of the humanness for a little bit, and it kind of shows you, oh wow, I wasn't this at all. I really am, I am energy. I miss anything there?
No, yeah, for the science people, yeah, I mean, you've all heard of neuroplasticity. That's exactly what he was explaining, the process of neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change and create new synaptic connections. And they have actually proven that this is what ketamine is doing in your brain. So as he said, I mean, really it's perfect for anybody. I mean, that was the first thing one of our attendees said in their last retreat. As soon as he came out, he'd never done any kind of psychedelics. In fact, he was new to just personal growth and spiritual growth. He said every person on this planet should experience this at least once to experience it. So yeah, I mean, I think really anybody that's on a path of growth would benefit from this. Yeah, I was gonna say also for those of you that are already meditators and you want to go deeper, like this will. I now can go into a meditation and practically almost have a ketamine experience. It's happened many, many, many times. So if you're looking to go deeper, this can definitely help you with that too.
All right, question 4. What are the after effects?
So the after effects are that you all of a sudden have a higher self that talks to you in your mind and catches you when you're going into default mode networks, patterns of behaviors and thoughts.
So let me give you an example. Let's say you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off, and that you start to feel that frustration or that anger start to come up. Suddenly you have this little voice in you saying, well, that's an interesting reaction, Scott. Why is that? And you suddenly, it's like this note has been given to you. You're back in your head. Can you get back into your heart now? And that's the after effect. Physically, you're not going to have an after effect. But emotionally, mentally, it helps guide you. It's like you are bringing in a Sherpa into your life to help you, well, you're doing great climbing a mountain. The Sherpa's just going to hang back, right? But then as soon as you start to struggle, as soon as you start to have question, that's where the ketamine comes in, because it will guide you. It's kind of this unspoken guide that helps you steer clear of your old habit. We talk, Dr. Joe Dispenza, again, talks about habit, talks about how we get stuck in the struggle and why we get stuck in the struggle. This helps you lift out of that struggle. It helps you see the struggle instead of being the invisible story behind you, guiding you where you don't want to go. This clears that. So that's really the after effect. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it brings a whole new definition to you are your own guru.
Yeah.
Because you really become your own guru with this medicine.
Question 5.
Why, some of you may have done research on ketamine already. You're interested, but you don't like the idea of going to a clinic and having it be with IV. It's why one of the reasons we started doing retreats like this is so that you aren't by yourself. The power, they've done studies on this, the power of a group coherence doing this together is a medicine in and of itself. It's a transformational aspect of the retreat in and of itself, just being in the group setting, being able to share, experience, grow, do all of these things in a really intimate, small setting with other people, as opposed to going into a clinic where it's still kind of can be stark, where sometimes you're by yourself, sometimes you're with your therapist. But we really wanted to bring that group aspect to it, as well as having a few days out of your normal, regular environment, because that is vitally important.
A lot of people, I don't know if I want to do it in a group. Well, just that statement, you want to do it in a group, because it's going to bring that fear of that anxiety of being in a group. It's going to relinquish it. It's going to set it free. And because again, you're with people that are seeking the same thing that you are. So we really hold you and we help guide you if you need that, and make you feel welcome and a part. And we have, they're fairly small retreats. We have anywhere from say 12 to maybe 20 people. And it's a lot of conversations, talking about what the journeys are like. And when people are ready, to open up. They talk about the struggles that they have had, and it's kind of funny, but we all have the same struggle. I'm just going to tell you right now, the same struggle that you have, everyone else at that retreat is having the same struggle. So it's nice to be able to have that conversation. So again, you know, it's all the things. It's the music, it's the breath, it's the environment, the place that we're having it, and the people that are in that environment. And then, did I say the medicine, the technology itself.
Technology itself, yeah. So our next one is actually only a couple weeks away. It's March 17th through the 21st in Sebastian, Florida at the Chosen Retreat Center. The retreat centers we pick are really important. And so it will be at the Chosen Retreat Center. You can still sign up for that for another week and a half before that closes. And then the one after that will be May 30th to June 3rd, and that will be back here in Taos, New Mexico at the San Geronimo Retreat Center here in Taos. And that one really, we want to encourage, we've called it Reset and Reconnect. That's the theme of that retreat. And this one, we're really encouraging entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, healers, guide, mentors, and healthcare physicians, healthcare workers. We're encouraging those to come to this one. We're even offering a 10% discount if you are one of those, because you affect a lot of people. People in those positions reach and affect a lot of people. So it is vitally important that you are staying in your own alignment, that you are resetting your own nervous system, that you are reconnecting with your own higher self, muse, intuition, creativity, whatever you want to call it, because you have to show up and mentor and guide and hold people every single day. And so for me, why it's also so important is because that's where I was at in June of last year. I was a coach and I was getting overwhelmed and I was getting burnt out, as we can get as entrepreneurs, because not only are you're helping other people, but you're growing a business as well, which is a whole other aspect. And so it's totally normal to feel overwhelmed, to lose your creativity, to get lost, to start being like, well, you know, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck there. That's where I was at. Going to that retreat changed everything for me. It helped me to become clear once again. It helped me to reconnect and reset once again. And I guarantee you it's going to affect your business in probably the most effective way as anything else that you do.
100%.
Is going to this retreat. So the focus will be on resetting and reconnecting. And like I said, anyone that is entrepreneur, business owner, coach, healer, guide, or healthcare worker, you get 10% off. So, and then the next one after that will be, I think we said towards the end of September, but we'll get dates out. So if you have more questions, we love getting on the phone with people or Zoom and talking them through fears and questions. We've done it a couple times, so we're totally open to doing that. Reach out.
And if you have any other questions, you can put them in the comments below. And also, if this ketamine seems like it would be something that you are interested in, you know, I always want to know that, because I want to make sure that, you know, we are putting stuff out, that we are, you know, serving our community and our people. And is this something that you have ever considered, or you have even heard about it? I never even heard about it. I mean, I knew they used it in emergency rooms because I got it once, but other than that, that's probably all I knew about it. So I hope this helped you in answering any of those questions. If you have any further questions, please put them in the comments below. And
And that concludes another weekly episode of All Our Madness.
That was long. Love you all.
Goodbye.
Bye.